And the first plugin I want to talk about is probably the most important one that I use. I cannot function without this plugin. I have been talking about it on this channel before. It's called Soothe. It's from a company called Oak Sound. And I've been extremely bad at explaining how this plugin works. I think I've said it's an automatic remover of bad things, which I still think is a semi-good explanation of the plugin. Soothe harshness, save time. Soothe 2 is a dynamic resonance suppressor. So I use this on guitars and I use it on the master track as well. I use it on guitars to remove harshness, especially when I have a new amplifier where the speaker is not fully played in yet. There is some harshness going around there. It never really goes completely away, even though I've played a lot with a cabinet or a speaker or an amp. So I use Soothe to remove those sounds, and it's fantastic. I think I got it recommended from Eric Valentine. Not personally, but I saw it on his YouTube channel and it's great. I think they have a 20 or 30 day trial, 20. So definitely try it out. I will show you how I use it, but it can be a bit difficult to hear the difference through YouTube and all of that stuff. So here's one guitar. Let's start without Soothe. And by the way, I'm using Soothe 2 now. I've been using the first version. I bought that some years back, and actually for this video Oak Sound gave me a license to try out of the second version. It's a bit faster, it seems like. I haven't really been able to dig into it yet, but it seems a lot more responsive and overall better than the first version. Actually, I will turn it on and I will turn down the depth knob and I will turn that up, and you can see if you can hear the magic that the plugin is doing to the guitar track. So I'm using the electric guitar D-harsh preset. There's a lot of presets in here. I turned up the sharpness, I believe, and I just set the depth to taste. I can definitely hear a big difference, and I'm taking away everything that I don't want to have on there. And it's definitely doing more than I could do with a regular EQ without me being able to explain why necessarily, but it's great. And you can hear both guitars together. And again, I'm also running Soothe on the master bus. I'm using the master bus D-harsh. You know, sometimes the mix isn't sounding right. I'm not saying that Soothe can fix everything, but a lot of the time when the mix isn't sounding right, I put Soothe on and I use one of their presets and it sounds a lot better. It just sounds better. So that is Soothe. I mean, you just need to experience that plugin because it is a bit difficult to hear everything through YouTube, as I explained. Another plugin that I've used for many years is the L2 Ultra Maximizer from Waves, a limiter. It is just a very simple limiter that I find very easy to use. And often when I find something that is easy to use and I think it sounds good, I just keep using that plugin. I will probably never buy or get another limiter plugin. Maybe if I get more advanced with my recording and mixing, but I think I will use this one forever. So that's Another one that I use on basically all my projects, I also use the J37 from Waves, a tape sim. Sometimes I use it to get some really lo-fi driven sounds. In this case, I'm just using a mastering fat, tight and open preset. I'm all about presets. I know what I want when I hear it. Sometimes I need to do tweaking, but very often I find a preset. I maybe do some tweaking. Sometimes I just use it as the preset suggests, and I'm super happy. In this case, I've done that with the mastering fat, tight and open. Yeah, so that's also a plugin that I often use on the master bus, and sometimes I use it on single tracks as well. Let me see if there's anything else from Waves that I use. Yes, bass. This is a plugin that I also talked about on the channel before, and that is the CLA bass, Chris Lord LG. It's a fantastic bass plugin, and when I record bass, I often only use that plugin. Not in this case, I've used it together with some other things, but very often I can only use this plugin when I record bass. So you have some basic EQ stuff. You have a built-in compressor. I often use this sub slider where you add in some sub to your signal. And the main thing is the drive slider that I use. I don't often go to the rip setting, but I did in this case, and they all sound fantastic. And if I feel crazy, I also use the pitch slider and add in some chorus on the bass, which is a very naughty trick to have chorus on the bass. It sounds cheesy, but it often works. So in this case, I'm blending two bass signals, and I think I'm using the plugin on both. Yes, I do, but only distortion on one of them. So that's the CLA bass. I highly recommend that one. And if you want the Waves plugins, there will probably be a sale next week. No matter when you watch this video, there will be a Waves sale because they always have sales. Yeah. I have also used the CLA 3A compressor a lot up and through the years. I still use it from time to time, and I highly recommend it. It's very simple to use and it sounds good, but I've started more and more to use the compressors in the Arturia pack that I recently got. Sweetwater and Arturia sent me this pack to check out, so you need to know that when you are watching this video. When I mixed this song, I used some different compressors. I think there are 3 different ones in the pack, no 4. But on later project, I've ended up using this one on basically all the guitar tracks. So that is my favorite compressor. I haven't been able to really dig into all of the plugins in the Arturia pack, but all of the ones that I've tried are amazing. So if we look at the solo track here, for example, I think I use a couple of them. So I used the Delay Brigade on the solo, and I also did use the plate reverb. The plate reverb is probably the one in the pack that I use the most. I basically use it on all songs that I record. I often use the delay as well, especially when I'm recording guitar directly into my audio interface. Let's hear the solo. So some simple slapback delay on that one and the plate reverb. And I also think I used the reverb on this rhythm track, didn't I? Yes, I did. Yeah, that's with a very high mix, but just so you can hear how it sounds, it's amazing. I'm also a sucker for how they look. I'm a simple guy like that. I see some people on YouTube, they want all plugins to not look good because you can base everything, your impression, on how it sounds. And I sort of understand and agree, but it's just for me as my main gig isn't mixing. So for me, it helps to have something to look at. And when it has a very familiar look, it's easier for me to understand. It's more intuitive for me then. So I just appreciate that. Another one that I often use, I don't think I have used it in this project, but I can put it on the solo, for example. And that is the Juno chorus from Arturia. This one. Again, the visuals. Sounds cool on guitar, but I use it more for synth stuff to get that classic Juno sound, or part of it at least. So that's also a good one from Arturia. Let's see if there's anything else from Arturia. Also, this one is pretty cool. This is not the right way to use it, or not the way that I use it. I use it more subtle, but a great tool to make your sound more vintage, lo-fi. And speaking of, that one is great for that, but I also use a plugin from Waves that I've used for many years that I forgot to mention, the Abbey Road Vinyl, which is kind of doing the same thing. I often just add some crackle and noise. A very cheesy trick, but very effective, in my opinion, especially when I do music for documentaries and videos, which I often do. Adding stuff like that just makes everything so freaking moody. I don't have the Logic project here, but here's another video that I did where I did some synth stuff with a Boss pedal, and then I used the Arturia Juno, and then I used that Waves plugin to add some noise and crackle and stuff like that, so you can hear it right now. Kind of subtle, and it's all good. It's a bit cheesy, as I said, but for me, I think it's perfect. I really like it. So that is my favorite plugins. I'm guessing that for most of them, you can find a trial version, so you can try them yourself. That is always the best thing to do if you are not sure if you are going to get it. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave a like or a dislike. No, don't do that. Thank you for watching. Bye.